You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 146 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, it's Sean back at you with another episode of Excitement and Adventure. And with me today is my brother Robin.
Hello.
Sitting beside me here in the basement in the Soul Forge headquarters. And coming to us live via Skype is our other brother. Who is this? Who's this guy over there?
Good day, everybody. This is Curtis.
Yes, it's Curtis. So the three brothers on the loose. Here we go.
Here we are.
And what are we talking about today, guys?
Talking about anniversaries.
Anniversaries.
Yes, because this week marks a very significant anniversary for all of us. It's been 17 years since I moved to Timmins.
17 years. How about that?
How about that? Is that what we're talking about?
No.
Is there more anniversaries?
There's more anniversaries.
Curtis, were you aware there's more anniversaries?
I was aware there were more anniversaries.
Huh. And what anniversary would that be?
Well, because we're talking about anniversaries, and because we're going to be talking about a specific person, this individual really, really liked dates and celebrating random anniversaries. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Completely.
Like how on, I don't know, pick a day, July 14th, 1973 or 4, whatever it happened to be, this person may have fallen down and cut their face, or maybe it was one of us. Or it could have been one of her friends' birthdays, or a day that she got into a fight with one of her friends and never talked again to that person.
True enough.
The dates and anniversary were always random and haphazard, and I'll be honest, I didn't know if they were real or not.
Oh, is that right?
I often questioned it.
I figured they were accurate because she would always say them year after year after year.
That's true.
You know what happened today? Yeah.
So enough leaving our audience in suspense. We're talking about our mother who passed away 6 years ago on March 31st, 2014.
That's right.
That is the anniversary.
That is. It's a very sad anniversary for the three of us. In fact, the other day I was listening to my memorial episode over on the Rusted Robot podcast that I recorded with the now ex-wife 6 years ago. And did that ever bring up a lot of memories and things that I had forgotten? So that's episode 18 of Rusted Robot podcast. I don't know if you guys have listened to that recently.
Not recently, but I did listen to it upon its release.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was probably 6 years ago when I edited the thing the last time I listened.
Yeah.
And as I was walking and delivering the mail yesterday and listening to it over again to see if I was going to release it on Soulforge here, I was like, oh my God, it cuts me, and there was like almost tears in my eye, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Curtis?
This anniversary has been a little easier, and I don't know if it's because I have a new job and have been very distracted with that, or the current COVID-19 events that are happening in the world. Or the combination of both. In fact, normally, as soon as March starts, I would say I get into a pretty sour mood.
Okay.
These last 6 years, but this particular March has been, I've been so distracted with other things that until Robin called me the other day and said, oh, we got Mom's anniversary coming up, I hadn't really thought about it this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Where year 5 was...
Horrendous.
Which was last year, it was absolutely awful.
Yeah, it was.
It was probably the worst anniversary.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And now we're at year 6.
And it's a different feeling for for various reasons for me.
Well, I think
how about you? How about you guys?
I think you're onto something with the current pandemic situation. That's been on everyone's minds.
Oh, I'm so sick of it.
Well, me too.
I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I don't want to hear that you're sick. Oh, stay away.
I'm tired of the memes. It's just everywhere.
It's overkill.
The last 2 episodes of Soulforge actually touched on it, and I thought for this week, let's have a fun topic.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a fun topic.
It's not fun,
but at least it's not pandemic time.
No.
So.
But I do agree with Brother Curtis there, because that's obviously distracting enough, and last year was definitely probably one of the hardest anniversaries, and when March rolls along, I'm in the same boat. I get moody and miserable, and for about a week this month I was just down in the dumps.
Yeah,
but
you were.
I would say it's easier this year.
And funny enough for me, it's I don't know if it's easier, but it's definitely more intense.
Yeah.
All this month I've been craving tea, and I'm not a tea drinker normally. And then I was listening to the episode yesterday, and I realized, okay, I've been craving tea all month, and it's because Mom's favorite thing was having a tea party, having Tetley tea, having a drink with her kids and her friends and whoever else.
And the cats.
Yeah, the cats having tea. So I've been craving a lot of tea. Also, almost 2 months ago, I started seeing a new girl named Julie, and I want to tell Mom about her. I want to call her up and say, hey, Mom, I met this new girl. You'd love her.
Yeah.
And I can't.
No.
And that's one thing that has always been in the back of my mind ever since she passed away. Any new person that I get involved with will not know who my mom was.
Right.
And that's hard.
Yes.
Curtis, back to you.
Well, I will say that, I mentioned that this month hasn't been too extreme for me, but I will tell you, back in January, I had so many things to tell her and wanted to talk to her about so many things. Sometimes I guess it's an ache. The pain inside is an ache, and you can get angry over it. You can get sad over it. It can physically hurt a little bit.
Yes.
And there was just a month or a couple days in January where I don't know if anything in particular was happening or whatever, but I was just really sad that she wasn't around and available to talk to. And I think it stems from my kids, and knowing that particularly my youngest, Rylan, would have loved chatting with Mom.
Yes. Because
Rylan's a chatter. She talks a ton when she's comfortable around people. And Mom loved to ask questions. And so I think Rye would have thought her questions were hilarious. And just, so, it's less about me needing my mother now, because I'm a grown adult. It would still be nice to share things with her, but watching my kids grow up and knowing that they're not going to have a chance to enjoy some of her, get to know her, enjoy some of her humor.
Her momisms.
Her momisms, right? Like close off the light and sweep the floor. And
broom the floor.
Broom the floor and close off the light and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
And do you guys remember, was it Tracy Ham?
Who?
Oh, Tracy Ham.
Robin remembers Tracy Ham.
Vaguely, yeah.
All right. So do you want to share that story, Robin?
Oh,
you know what?
I don't remember the exact story. I just remember the name now that you mentioned it. But
well, Curtis will tell the story right after this promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
We are the Cigar Nerds podcast. Do you like cigars? Great! We review cigars while talking about movies, TV shows, science, and pop culture news. What? You don't like cigars? Great! Because we also talk about science, movies, TV shows, and whatever's going on in the news. It's what we do. We smoke cigars, and we know things. Find us on cigarnerdpodcast.com. We're also on the ESO Network.
And back to you once again, Curtis. Who's Tracy Ham? Is that a man?
All right.
A kid? What is
So Tracy Ham, later on in life, I found out was a football player.
Ah.
But I had no idea about this as a kid. So Mom would pick Robin and I up from Pinewood Public School.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Every day. And on our ride home, we'd be driving home. And there would be a gentleman outside waiting for the bus or a ride or maybe to pick up his kids. We don't really know, but he was always standing outside, just outside of the MJ Dacey building that used to be a school and then got turned into other uses, an adult school, and now I think it's an apartment or something. Anyway, I think he was around that area that he would be standing. And this was on Dacey Road. And as we'd be driving past him, Mom would tell us to say hi to Tracy Ham.
Oh.
And she would point out this gentleman as Tracy Ham. So Robin and I would roll down our windows and yell out to him every day, "Hi, Tracy Ham." and Mom would laugh hilariously. And we drive by, and eventually it got to the point where he would see our vehicle coming, the old Italian couch, and he would look away and try to avoid us. And Robin and I did that for months on end, and it was all at Mom's prodding. And I guess she's found some humor in it.
She had a unique sense of humor.
Yeah.
She had a unique sense of humor, and so that was our Tracy Ham story.
Old Tracy Ham.
I'm sorry I missed all that. I must have
Yeah.
already been, I don't know, back in university maybe, or
Late high school probably.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, you just were walking home at that point probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. So who was our mother? How would you best describe her?
Worrisome?
She worried a lot.
Worried a lot. I mean,
Constant.
really a lot.
If she wasn't worried, she was worrying about not worrying about something.
True, and always busy, always taking care of everybody but herself.
Yes. Yeah,
Extremely busy.
which was, I think, part of her problem, that she never just took a minute to
calm
relax
down,
and unwind, and had to go constantly.
Because that way she never had to think her own thoughts, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was always looking to better her situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she would self-admittedly make some mistakes, and her ideas wouldn't always pan out.
Sometimes she made it worse. Yeah.
Sometimes she made it worse. But she was always a lady that had a reserve fund of $300 in the bank account.
Yes.
And she was very loving. She loved her sons.
She did.
She loved everyone, unless she didn't like you. Then she didn't like you. But
it was rare when she didn't like somebody.
yeah.
But when she didn't like them, she hated them.
Yep.
And she could not keep the expressions off her face.
No.
That's true. She could discipline us with just a stern look.
Oh, I got that look constantly. And
You knew it was over.
oh yeah, absolutely. I can still remember just, she would always sneak up and catch me in the act. And it was that she'd come around the corner and she'd just come up off her toes a little bit, and she'd just put her head around the corner and look, and she would nail me, catch me every time. Didn't matter what it was. She was stealthy like that. But this whole part of this, this pandemic thing, we were trained, especially me, because I was grounded so much as a kid that this staying inside stuff is a breeze. Because I spent, 3/4 of my childhood grounded anyway. So.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was somebody that didn't mess around with her punishments.
No.
If you were in trouble, you were in trouble, and if you were grounded for a month, you were staying in the house for a month.
Yep. I think one time she let me have early parole. One time.
Just once?
Once.
What about you, Sean? What do you remember?
What do I remember? I remember so many different things. Like you said, the expression on her face, the way her chin would jut out, and the fire in her eyes when she was angry.
Yep.
How excited she used to get over adding Tetley tea collection items to her pile.
Mm-hmm.
Her love of cats.
Yeah. There was an infinity of love for cats and cat pictures and
her encyclopedic knowledge of everything in the family. I was listening to episode 18 there of Rusted Robot, and we had reminisced about her and described who she was, her Tetley tea collection, the way that she knew everything about the family. You could look at a picture, she knew who was in it, when it was taken.
the date, yeah.
Not necessarily the date, but roughly. We had all kinds of collectibles in the house, or just items from all the dead people that had come before, and she knew who they belonged to, when they had gotten it, what it meant to her. And now we here have all these pictures, have no idea who most of the people are, or why we're still hanging on to the stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a big gap of knowledge that we have because she was the family historian.
She was the knowledge base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it falls to us, and we know nothing.
No. Well, we know other stuff, but
not to the degree that she.
No.
Is that a fair assessment, Curtis?
I would say that's a very fair assessment. She definitely paid attention, and I think we may have paid less attention because she always just knew everything, and so we didn't have to memorize it.
We assumed she'd always be there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I know that I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because this year in September she would have turned 62, so that's still pretty young.
Yeah.
And so she figured she'd be around till her late 80s. So
yeah.
all that knowledge would always be there.
Yeah.
But no. And now all the family history is gone. What was it? 2 years ago we lost our last two uncles on her side. So
Yes, indeed.
So now there's no family left on the mom side.
No. Completely
Except for
wiped out.
some very distant relations, which we don't really know that well, so they don't count. But everybody that was close on that side is totally gone.
Yeah.
So it's just us three.
Yep.
And our sorted children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big loss not having her in our lives anymore. You know, I remember her often saying that she didn't want to end up like her mother.
Yes.
I had noticed in the later part of her life, within the last year, before she had killed herself, she was starting to repeat herself a little bit. And I think that might have scared her.
It makes sense because once her parents passed away, both in 2013, and her favorite aunt died that year as well. They all died. That was the rest of the family for her, not including her brother and the other uncle who she wasn't that close with. And so it all came crashing down on her. She had nobody left to take care of because
and she had
the three kids, us three, were well established, or somewhat
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, and she loved to reminisce about her past life with family members.
Mm-hmm.
And because we weren't there to share in her early experiences, I think it devastated her that she wasn't able to reach back to her past and share those mutual experiences. Like with her mother, she used to have Friday night bubblegum and tea leaf parties.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a common thing where Grandma Dee Dee would come over for tea on Fridays, and they'd buy a box of bubblegum and just chew through it like it was nobody's business, and sit around and laugh and talk about the old stories about the South Market House with the ghosts and other stories about the business and just all sorts of things. And I think one of her favorite stories to tell was how she could take 25 cents from the drawer and go to school and purchase a bag of chips, a pop, and maybe a sandwich.
It was a buried treasure.
Buried treasure.
I think it was an ice cream or something.
Yeah.
This is the 70s, so yeah, chips and a buried treasure. And what was the other thing? A pop?
A pop, I believe.
Yeah, all for 25 cents. And that was her lunch.
Yeah, and so that's all she ever took, even though that
The drawer
at that
was full.
time the drawer was full. Our grandparents had a successful business, and they were doing quite well in the 70s. And she could have taken more, but never did, and kind of resented that her brothers always took advantage of it.
Yes.
But she always only took the quarter.
Because it's all she needed.
It's all she needed. Went to school and had her pop and hung out with Brenda Beer.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and she would talk about that all the time. And she had, like you said at the beginning, the memories of, July 1st, 1973, I fell off my bike and I got the scar on my knee here, Shawnee. Or whatever. That's not necessarily the date, but that's how she would talk about it. And every year, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
7 or 8 of those things, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
She knew everyone's birthdays, everyone's anniversaries, everyone's this.
I think I got that too. I remember a lot of dates and so on and so forth. It's not as important to me as I've gotten older, but
Right.
Yeah, no, her divorce dates, she'd remember those too.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrate the anniversaries or mention them at least. I don't know if she celebrated them, but
maybe in her own small way.
maybe.
Hey, do you have any video of her besides the time she was drunk at your party?
I have her birthday party video
Okay.
where we it was her 50th.
Okay. because I was looking through my Facebook to see if I had any live video of her, and I don't. And I was trying to show Julie who my mom was, and all I could find was the one on Robin's Facebook.
Oh, yes.
Where she was drunk and talking like a crazy person. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
It was very funny. No, she was very camera shy. Tried to avoid that. I don't know where the homemade videos would be
I was just
from
going to
way
bring
back
that
when.
up, and I don't know if I have them, but they might be at your place in the basement, if anything.
Okay.
But I don't remember what I did with that box of tapes.
Or they disappeared when our stepfather lost the house because
No, I had a box of tapes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Because his life fell apart once she
Oh,
was
absolutely
gone,
it did.
so,
Yeah. Yeah, and we lost a lot of stuff
yeah,
when he lost the house.
Yeah.
The rocking chair that she had from, I don't know if it was from when you were a baby or when I was a baby.
it was from you.
It was for me. I thought so.
Yeah.
We traveled with that many years. As people may or may not know, we moved many times throughout our childhood, and
yeah, we did.
that
Yeah.
that rocking chair, and we moved so much because she was always trying to better our situation. But that rocking chair made it a long time, and then when Bill lost the house, we lost the rocking chair,
Among other things.
among many other things.
Mm-hmm. Well, we couldn't stay in the orphanage forever.
Are you talking
No, that's true. Are you
You're
going to
talking
explain the
about,
orphanage?
That was
Terry
26
Fox.
Terry Fox
Yeah.
Place, apartment 203 from 1987 to 1994.
Our longest stay anywhere in our childhood.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes, that's true.
We had bunk beds and 3 matching dressers, and she would call it the orphanage because it was all
Three boys
the
in
same.
one room.
3 boys in one room, all looking the same. Except it was really only 2 boys in one room, and Robin would go sleep with her.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Till you were what, 10?
Yeah, about that.
12.
12?
Was it 12? Yeah.
It was 12.
It was long enough anyway.
Yeah.
Longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
Pervert.
Way
Yeah.
too long.
So,
I had that same dresser up until I moved out of my house last year.
oh,
I came here.
right.
Yeah.
When you lost your house.
Yeah. And I lost my house.
At least patterns in the family are consistent.
Oh, absolutely.
We liked. Yeah.
Oh, good times. Yeah, is there anything else we should say about her?
You know, I don't know if it was her or not, but I still, last year there, when all 3 of us suffered little cuts on our hands, of course Curtis had the biggest cut on his hand, I feel like that was her.
Saying hello?
Saying something. I don't know what. But it just seemed really peculiar that
All
within
3 of
that,
us.
all 3 of us within that week and a half, all suffered,
Cuts on her right hand?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was her or you guys not paying attention to my warning.
Maybe.
I got the least of it though. I didn't, and mine wasn't a broken glass doing dishes, but it was a broken beer bottle at the bar when I was
Cleaning up.
So it just seemed weird to me, and it was around her birthday that happened, was it not? So I'm pretty sure.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
It was last fall anyway.
Yeah.
So.
So I feel like that was her just
Saying hello.
saying hello. We'll go with that.
Sure.
Not a nice way to say hello, of course, but
No.
I
definitely
found it. Yeah, it just seems way too.
Coincidental?
Yeah,
There are no coincidences, brother.
none.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so I guess that's about it for our mom talk.
Yeah, probably. I think the last thing I would say is that she's definitely missed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She was an awesome mother.
She was the best.
The only one we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely missed. Definitely taught us a lot. Taught us a lot of things to do and not to do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I still repeat a lot of the momisms
Oh, yeah.
because it's like just ingrained into you.
It is. So many expressions are like, oh, that's a mom.
Yeah.
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 And like you said earlier on, I believe Curtis is like, you just want to talk to her and tell her so much stories, and I'm the same way. There's always something that I want to, call her and say, hey, listen to this. Like,
It doesn't go away.
Nobody ever cares about your achievements more than your mother,
True.
Very true.
right? And so when you have an achievement or something big happens in your life, you know that she'd be so excited for it. and she'd ask you a million questions about it, and she'd make a big deal even of the small things.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made you feel good that somebody cared so much about what you might be doing.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing I miss, is just her excitement over the most mundane activities and things.
Yeah, and we could talk on the phone with her for an hour about nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And she
Definitely,
had a million and one excuses to avoid people that she didn't want to hang out with,
Yes.
Yeah.
whether it was a headache or the shower or whatever. She was hilarious in her excuses. She came up with them on the spot so quickly. She was pretty sharp. And I think one of my best memories was she just got mad at me. We were living at Landslide. She just got mad at me. She just yelled at me, and then we were driving into town for something, and she made sure she told me. She's like, "Oh, Curdy, I'm still mad at you." And then like 2 seconds later, all of a sudden it just changed. She's like, "Hey, you want to go for a donut?" And I started cracking up, and she didn't understand why that was so funny. But then, as I explained it to her, she thought it was funny too, and we just we would say that often after that. And I don't know, it was just a pure moment of being in shit, and then all of a sudden being offered to go for a donut, and how quickly she could go from being mad at you to forgiving you. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I remember one of my favorite stories is when we'd go driving around the town to go do whatever it was, go groceries or whatnot, and I'd always ask her to bring me to Blockbuster, if you remember Blockbuster back in the day. And she would say, no, not today or whatever. No, it's not the weekend. There was always a day for certain activities. And I remember I was sitting in the front seat and we were driving around and I had the window rolled down and I would be yelling out the window, "My mom's mean. She won't take me to Blockbuster." But she was laughing about the whole thing. She thought it was hilarious. And I'd be like, "My mom won't take me to Blockbuster." And I wasn't actually crying, but it was one of those things, and it would happen quite often. Or you were driving around listening to a certain song, and she'd say, "No, this isn't wintertime music. No, this isn't summertime music."
There was a time and a place.
There was
for
a
everything.
time and a place for certain things.
Or like when she'd drive us somewhere and we'd get to our destination and she'd say, "Hey, all right, we're here now. Get the hell out of my car." And laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. And I think it would be unjust of us to be talking about her without mentioning her love for the Proclaimers and
Oh, yes.
500 Miles.
I still can't listen to that song.
Yeah, it always tugs at my heartstrings when I hear it. Yeah.
So-
I have a
so-
few songs like that because they always remind me of those times,
Right, but Sean, what did you have to do for Mom for
Oh.
500 Miles?
I had to get my buddy to take his CD and put that song on a tape, front and back, so she could listen to it over and over and over
I
again.
remember that.
In fact, that's something that I mentioned on episode 18 of Rusted Robot, and I was listening to it yesterday, and I'm like, oh crap, I had forgotten all about that. Yeah, there's lots of stories. So if our listeners want to hear even more, especially some raw emotion, go listen to episode 18 of Rusted Robot podcast,
Yes, sir.
because you guys are mentioned on it and all this stuff. So lots of detail.
Yeah.
So, brothers, thanks for entering the realm of the Soul Forge to talk about Mom and be on this anniversary episode. It's been a while since Curtis has been on a Soul Forge episode. Probably since the three of us have been on since episode 13 of Soul Forge, when we did our brothers road trip to see Blondie and Garbage.
Oh, yes.
That sounds about right.
Yep. So, Curtis, we'll have to get you on here more and more. We were going to go see you for Easter, but since we're all quarantined, that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But listeners, thanks for coming by and listening to us reminisce about Mom. We were going to do a book review, me and Tracy, on April 5th about Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But since we're all quarantined, that's going to be on hold for a bit. Still, get your questions and comments and concerns to us. And further along here, I just wanted to thank Richard from Australia for his generous donation to the coffee account to support the podcast. That's ko-fi.com/rustedsoul if you'd like to support us. But until next time, thanks for coming by, and remember, never let a good crisis go to waste. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Hi, thanks for calling. You've reached 759-4628. Sorry we can't come to the phone, but we'll call you back. Thanks. Have a great day.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.